Hey everyone, my name is Dylan Dugan. Welcome to Tech Warrior. Today we're going to be talking about what the differences between a prime lens and a zoom lens is and why you should get one over the other. Let's get into it. So before I start this video, I want to tell you guys that this video is sponsored by teacherjobfairs.org, your teacher recruitment headquarters. Links down below. So this prime lens, this lens is great for filmmaking. It's not going to be great for photography unless you're at a pretty close distance to a subject, maybe like a flower or something like that. This is not a macro lens, so do not try to get close with this thing. It's a 35mm prime lens. You can get 50mm, 18mm, 22, really any focal length, but a prime lens is when it's a set focal length. So this is 35mm. It cannot zoom in or out, and that's pretty much it. So you have a very limited distance that you have with this lens. It does have that f/22 it can go up to for aperture, and the fastest it can go is f/1.8, which is crazy fast for this lens, or for any lens really, for $200, which is how much I bought this one for. It's built very well, and it has the autofocus and manual focus switches on here, so it does have that technology in the inside that can connect to your camera, and you can use the autofocus feature on it, and that's pretty cool. And this lens is probably one of my all-time favorites that I have. And that's only because it has a very, very, very creamy background that's blurry in most of the pictures that I take at 35mm. So now let's talk about this lens. This is a zoom lens, and a zoom lens doesn't necessarily mean a lens that's 70 to 300mm or 5,000mm, anything like that, which doesn't even exist, 5,000mm. But okay, besides that, this lens is a zoom lens because it just can go from one focal length to another. Just like the lens that I'm shooting on right now, an 18 to 55mm kit lens, it's a zoom lens because it goes from 18 to 55mm. So unlike the prime lens, you can go ahead and go from one focal length if you're closer to a subject to seeing a subject that's 300mm focal length distance away. And you can be like, it could be like a bird or a plane or something like that. You can see with a lens like this, pretty far away stuff. This has it's a pretty slow aperture. It's I believe it's an f3.5 to f5.6, and that's 3.5 at 70mm and 5.6 at 300mm. So this lens isn't great, but it will give you a blurry background, especially if you're zoomed in or closer to a subject. So now that you know which lens does what, the only thing I can probably say is that you would want to use this lens for filmmaking and this lens for photography. Now, not necessarily you had to do that or you have to do that. This lens you can take video with and it can do all right, but this lens is not stabilized. This one isn't either, but since it's at 35mm and it's such a wide lens, a wide angle that it can take, you won't really notice jitters and things like that. So this is a better lens for filmmaking, and this is definitely a better lens for photography. So in my next video, we're going to be talking about the difference between a Nikon D3400, which is a $300 DSLR, over a Panasonic GH4, which is a $1,000 DSLR. And I will see you guys in the next video.